That's all from me for now. Back to you, Andrew.
Many thanks, Louise. Now, as I said, this is a very different kind of Sunday morning, and if you'll forgive me, I just wanted to start with a few thoughts of my own, because this is the most dramatic and important democratic decision ever taken by the British people. But it leaves our country deeply divided. It's not just the overall numbers, the 17 million leavers against the 16 million stayers. The minute you dig down at all into the data, you find that poorer areas with more unskilled and semi-skilled workers and more pensioners were much likelier to vote leave. The map of the results shows a yawning gap between the posher, better educated and richer parts of Britain, London, some of the city centres elsewhere, university towns and so on, and the huge swathes of post-industrial, ex-mining and struggling fishing and agricultural Britain. Whatever the politicians tell us, right at the moment, we are not one country. Now, none of this should come as a surprise, nor can we really blame today's campaigners. For the past 50 years, we have seen a decline in heavy industrial, making things, exporting Britain, and the rise in service industries, banking and culture, which mopped up some of the lost jobs. Under our last 5 prime ministers, we became a shopping nation. London boomed as a global centre, while, ignored by too much of the political and media class, places like industrial Wales, the Black Country and struggling coastal towns became ever poorer, ever more desolate. Meanwhile, waves of migration and globalised culture washed among us, eroding our sense of self. Whole communities changed colour and language, leaving older people bemused and cut off. As the numbers from Eastern Europe rose, eager, white, hard-working, new neighbours, alarm grew in the poorer parts of the country. But the self-confidently, multi-ethnic, liberal, urban class, high on high house prices and high employment levels, was having such a good time they barely noticed. London spoke a lot, but didn't listen. Well, it's heard now. This has been the rebellion of the diminished against the cocky, the ignored against the shapers of modern times, and the struggling against the strutting. This revolt has taken us out of Europe with huge consequences for the rest of the EU. It has also taken out the leadership of the governing party and may soon remove the leadership of the opposition party as well. In the House of Commons today, nobody has a clear majority, and whatever administration is cobbled together over the next weeks and months, it will surely struggle for real authority. We are still today a lucky country, able to fashion our own future and with a wonderful history. But we are also divided, full of bad feelings and in choppy seas, still searching around for a rudder. Andrew Neil has been following events from Westminster around the clock, part of the vast media encampment opposite the Houses of Parliament. He will be hosting the Sunday Politics from there immediately after this programme. Andrew, what's your view on this extraordinary day?
Well, Andrew, Britain's crossed the most significant political watershed in my lifetime. It's not so much a new chapter in our island story as a brand new volume. Nobody knows the ending. There will be challenges, some of which we haven't even yet recognised. But the European Union faces problems of its own. Euroscepticism is on the rise from Italy to Portugal, Holland to Scandinavia, and already endemic in Greece. Almost everywhere, pro-EU parties of the centre-left and centre-right are in retreat, harried and sometimes even defeated by more radical voices from the nativist right and the neo-Marxist left. Anti-Brussels sentiment is at British levels across northwest Europe. In France, the EU is now even less popular than it is here in Blighty, causing German officials to fret about the future. Thursday's Brexit vote, far from being a case of British exceptionalism, could well be the first serious rebellion in a pan-European uprising against the EU project as currently constituted. Now, this is not to say we'll trigger a rush to the exit. I doubt that. But it does suggest business as usual in Brussels will only fan rebel flames. The EU, almost as much as the UK, is now in uncharted territory. It's probably in the interest of Brussels and London that neither loses its way.
Hard to disagree with any of that. And now to the papers.